Hi, welcome to another exciting edition of This Is My Architecture from Bollywood Town, Mumbai. I'm here today joined by Ravindra, Chief Architect, Bajaj Finance. Ravindra, welcome to the show.
Hey, Anand. Thanks for having me on the show.
So, Ravindra, what does Bajaj Finance do?
BFL is India's leading non-banking finance company, offering various financial products across different customer segments.
And what was the specific business challenge that Bajaj Finance is trying to solve?
Yeah, primarily if you look at it, lending is more of an offline business, right? You fill up the form, then we'll basically do a bureau check,
right,
and then we offer the loans. What we are trying to build with this new initiative is customer coming onto the platform, fill in the form, and then we at the back end apply the logics so that we can provide a seamless experience to the customers.
Great. So I see that you need a pretty comprehensive set of services to deliver a lending platform.
Sure.
So what are some of these services that you would need?
Sure. As you look at it, right, first we need to do a dedupe, whether it's an existing customer or a new customer, right? Second one is a bureau check, right? Then we have a lot of partners who provide APIs, and we need to integrate with them, sure, right? And the third one is more in terms of the analytics model that has to be run behind so that we can give the loans to the right customers.
Right. So you need a scalable set of services that you can build and provide for your customers. So what does the flow look like? So I see a technical architecture here. If you could walk us through that.
Sure. As you can see, we basically segregated the deployment into two parts. One is we have the production VPC and we have the DevOps VPC, right? Production VPC is where all the business logic are deployed. And each of the business logic is composed as a microservices and then deployed using the ECS.
Okay.
Right? When a customer comes either using the web or the mobile application, hits the cloud front, right? Behind the scene, we use the WAF.
So WAF for our viewers is Web Application Firewall.
Yeah. That basically checks whether allow the traffic or not, and then hits the ELB. Behind the ELB, we basically route it to the appropriate services.
Okay.
Right. Now,
and these are the microservices.
These are the microservices where the business logic does, right?
Okay.
And once the document or the data has been there, we basically persist it into DB.
Okay.
Now, we use RDS, we use DynamoDB and S3 as a source for storing the data.
Okay, so that's excellent. So we have looked at the flow right from a user standpoint. Now, some of the aspects that really stand out are things like availability, scalability. Can you touch on a few of those?
Sure. As part of the ECS task definition, what we have defined as a placement policy is we using the availability zones. So we have two servers in a two different availability zone. And when a service is deployed, it basically deploys into different availability zones. As a result, it provides a high availability as well as the scalability. Scalability point of view, whenever a service, the request on a particular service has exceeded certain threshold, we basically spin off a new instance of the service that provides for scalability.
Okay. And obviously, security is the underpinnings. Everywhere I see security right from CloudFront WAF as well as isolation of networks. Now, you also use ECS in interesting ways for cost optimization. Can you touch a little bit on that?
Sure. So ECS has what we're using is a host underneath each of the clusters. All right. Now we have segregated into multiple clusters. Depending on the workload of the services, we use different instance types.
Okay.
That's the first. The second aspect is that we use a combination of spot instance, reserve instance, and on demand, which basically helps us in optimizing the cost.
Okay. Now we have looked at production VPC. What's all the DevOps VPC about?
Yeah. Developer basically checks in the code into the Bitbucket, right? We have developed the two kind of pipeline on the Jenkins. One is the build pipeline, and what we have is the deployment pipeline. As part of the build pipeline, code is taken from the Bitbucket, static analysis is done, and then we create an artifact which is stored in artifacts repository. As part of the deployment, we basically take from the artifact, we create a container, which is primarily Docker, and then we store the Docker as ECR.
Yeah, and ECR is the container registry where all the Dockers are going.
Once the Docker is registered, we basically invoke the service API of the ECS, which will basically deploy the instance.
Okay. And I see that you're also using DX there. What exactly is
Some of the services basically has to interact with some of the on-prem services which are exposed as an API. Right? For example, the enterprise warehouse calls or the dedupe service and stuff like that.
Okay. Now, pretty comprehensive architecture that I have seen across production VPC and DevOps VPC using the underpinnings of security. What's next in this architecture? How do you plan to evolve it?
We are looking to use Fargate and Lambda expression to replace the ECS.
Okay. So great use case of an enterprise really leveraging cloud-native functionality to build a lending platform, right, that gives the fastest loan approvals in the industry. So I hope viewers, you enjoyed this particular edition of This Is My Architecture. Thanks for joining, and thanks, Ravindra, for sharing this architecture.
Thanks, Anand.